Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Natasha Kirchek, and coming up in today's newscast, malls, open-air markets, and gyms reopen across the country as the rate of coronavirus infections continues to drop. We'll meet the Israeli mentalist who says he knows when the coronavirus crisis is going to come to an end. And we'll reveal the unbelievable discovery that led to the creation of one of Israel's top wineries. It's finally happening. Malls, outdoor markets, and gyms are reopening today. This latest easing of restrictions comes as the coronavirus infection rate is continuing to drop off significantly in Israel. Since the start of the week, there have been less than 100 new cases of COVID-19 diagnosed a day in the country. And right now, the death toll stands at 239, and over 16,345 Israelis have been diagnosed with the virus. But there's only been a total of 32 new cases in the last 24 hours. Now, even though shopping malls and outdoor markets are allowed to reopen, they'll still be facing various restrictions. Only a limited amount of shoppers will be allowed to enter. Customers will not be allowed to consume food on site in markets, and places for waiting in line will also have to be delineated. Now, as a result of the dip in new coronavirus cases in Israel, more restrictions will be eased. Government-supervised daycares for kids up to the age of 3 will be opening up on Sunday with limited class sizes. Tel Aviv is reportedly preparing to reopen most of its restaurants and cafes by the end of next week, and all limitations on gatherings could be canceled by June 14th. But authorities are warning that all of this progress could be taken back if COVID-19 cases begin to spike again. Now, all that being said, there will not be any lockdown during next week's Lag BaOmer festivities. The Jewish holiday is on May 11th and May 12th. And to prevent as many large gatherings as possible, the holiday's traditional bonfires will be banned, but that's all. Now, I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to go back shopping. And one of the malls that has just returned to full activity is Tel Aviv's City Garden Mall. Dana Lichtenstein is the mall's marketing manager, and she joins us with the details on how the shopping center is going to ensure customer health. So your mall is a very old institution in Tel Aviv, and I'm sure people have been very excited that it's opening. How many shoppers actually showed up this morning?
Hi, good afternoon. So yeah, after a while, we had today, our door was open, all the shopping mall was open. We had about 3,000 people come by, which is actually 60% less than last year exact time, but
it's still a turnout, right? So what kind of guidelines do you guys have to follow according to the health ministry?
We follow all instructions given, from temperature testing at all our entrance, both visitors and employees.
Okay.
Also, we do a daily disinfection at all surfaces that can be touched. And we had transparent perspex dividers to every shop between customer and cashier.
Right, of course. So there's a lot that you kind of have to abide by right now in the meantime. Have there been shops that have been forced to close in the mall because of financial difficulties from having had to stay closed for so long with the coronavirus crisis?
No, fortunately, for our luck, all of the shops are open today. Just
Wonderful.
3 of them are taking some time to arrange and organize. And we've been very flexible and very understanding. So we try to ease for everybody this.
Well, that's amazing that no one has had to close down, because, you know, just walking through Tel Aviv, you see so many small shops closing nowadays. So great news. I'm going to come to the mall myself and check it out. I need to do some shopping myself. And again, congratulations on reopening.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. The High Court has finally made its decision, and it looks like Israel will have its unity government. The rotational agreement between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Knesset Speaker Gantz has passed in the Knesset with an overwhelming majority, and the High Court has rejected all of the petitions against the coalition that were filed earlier this week. Now, the new emergency unity is set to be sworn in on May 13th, and joining us with the details is columnist for Newsweek and the editor of HistoryCentral.com, Mark Schulman. So after the Knesset approves the full legislative package that's required by the coalition deal between Likud and Blue and White, will the 35th Israeli government led by Netanyahu succeed?
Well, question of what success is obviously a big question. It'll certainly be sworn in, unless there's a late-minute changed because of the High Court. The High Court, by the way, delayed certain things. They said they wouldn't discuss certain things until after laws had actually been passed. And now the laws have been passed, there have been a few new petitions to the High Court. But in any case, Netanyahu rushed to get 72 signatures. That's all of the Knesset members of Blue and White, of Likud, of Shas, and the ultra-religious Yadut Torah. And they've now given that to the president, requesting that Netanyahu get the mandate to start to form the government. He promised to do that by next Wednesday.
Right.
So we expect that to happen. Now, will the government succeed? We'll have to see. Will we ever reach the rotation agreement for Gantz to become prime minister? The agreements are pretty strong, but on the other hand, no one puts on the question that might not end up happening in the end.
Right.
So we'll have to see a year and a half.
Now, the High Court of Justice unanimously rejected a series of petitions seeking both to prevent Prime Minister Netanyahu from forming a government due to the criminal charges against him and to block the coalition deal he signed with Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz. What were their arguments for rejecting petitions?
Well, the rejection was basically on legal grounds. In other words, they basically said that it's really disgusting, basically, is what they said, that the prime minister who's been indicted is about to become a new government. They said it's lo ra'ui, which means it's really not acceptable. However, they could find no legal basis. They kept on asking the petitioners, what legal basis do we have for denying it? And the High Court, despite the views of the right wing as being very activist, the Israeli High Court is very, very conservative, and they rarely intervene in Knesset events or say that a law is not legal. So they certainly weren't going to do it this time, all the pressure that existed. So what they said is, it's not good governance, and the coalition agreement that they had was very, very problematic, they said, but they had no basis for blocking it. But they also made it clear that some of the elements of the coalition agreement that had not been passed yet as laws were problematic, and they might come back and revisit it once they were actually passed by laws, because they made it very clear that they were not going to say in advance whether a law was going to be okay or not. They'd have to wait for that law actually to be passed, and then petitioners could come and say that's not okay. Examples being the question of judges.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I mean, I guess we are, again, going to have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Natasha.
Now, in other news, Israel has just given the go-ahead for construction on thousands of settler homes in Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank. And the United States has indicated that it may recognize both these buildings and annexations within the coming few weeks. ILTV's Aaron Porras has the details.
United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is planning to visit Israel next week for landmark meetings with both Prime Minister Netanyahu and Knesset Speaker Benny Gantz. And the senior-level talks are scheduled to include the issues of Israeli annexations and expansions over the Green Line. Meanwhile, 7,000 homes have now been approved for construction in the settlement of Efrat, a move that is drawing harsh criticisms both in the PA and in Israel. PA authorities are of course opposed to the move, with senior members calling it a violation of international law. Then, in his first public appearance since early March, PA President Abbas is again threatening to drop all cooperative agreements with both Israel and the U.S. at the mere announcement of annexations. Meanwhile, in Israel, a recent poll shows that the majority of Israeli Jews are also opposed to annexations. Such moves, however, have long been major campaign points of Netanyahu's Likud party, and U.S. officials have indicated that as long as the decisions are in line with their deal of the century, then they would likely offer support.
Now, every day we get questions from our viewers about the status of foreign workers in the state of Israel. Many have been out of work because of the COVID-19 restrictions. Others have been forced to leave the country. And some who went on vacation prior to the coronavirus outbreak just haven't been able to get back into Israel. So to help clear the confusion about the rights of foreign workers in the country, we have attorney Shoshana Strauss joining us from Israel's Population and Immigration Authority. So to start, for foreign workers who have lost their jobs in Israel but are still living here, are they getting any type of financial support from the government?
First of all, most of the fields in which the foreign workers are employed legally, which are construction, agriculture, and caregiving, have not stopped. They're considered essential services, and those workers all have their jobs, and that's the great majority of the legal foreign workers here in Israel. There are a lot of unskilled jobs that are still available, but recently the High Court of Justice decided that the sums that were garnished from their wages and saved by the government for them need to be returned to them. So they have the option now on our website of entering and asking for those sums to be transferred to their bank accounts. So if they were working and they lost their job, they have an option now of receiving all the sums that were deducted from their salaries.
The question is, how can they access that? How do they know where to go and do that?
So we've published announcements in all the different languages. We've given it also to the NGOs, and they can easily enter our website, and again, in all the different languages. There's an online form to fill out. They can do it through their telephones, write down their information, and they'll receive the money.
Now, has there been an increase in the number of foreign workers or immigrants who have left Israel since the coronavirus pandemic began?
Well, as you know, especially in April and May, there weren't that many flights either in or out of Israel, so there hasn't been, there wasn't such an opportunity for foreigners to leave. According to the data we have now, in April and May, so far, perhaps maybe 5,000 foreigners left. And we don't have a breakdown if those were, if we're talking about tourists or overstayers.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us and updating. We have a lot of viewers who are foreign workers themselves, who have immigrated to the state of Israel, are asylum seekers. So this is information that they needed to hear. All right.
Great.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, my pets are family, and I could never give them up. But apparently, lots of people are being forced to do just that amidst the coronavirus pandemic. And my fellow animal lover, Nittany Manson, has the details.
I had a business trip planned to Israel. And, as the coronavirus situation was starting to evolve, we were debating, should we or should we not actually make the trip. Now, unfortunately, my wife's dad also had a medical emergency situation. So we decided to fly anyway to Israel. With the plan of being here for 2 weeks. So we left Gula with her babysitter, with doggy sitter for 2 weeks.
That's Guy Nitzan. He lives in New York with his wife and daughter, but after a family emergency, they decided to fly back home to Israel, leaving their doggy behind for what they thought would be a short time. It's been nearly 2 months since they've last seen her.
As you can imagine, we had to get all the approvals, the permit. Once we actually got everything, the same day they decided to shut down the entire flights from New York to Israel.
More than 1,000 pets are currently stranded across the world as airlines cancel flights and borders close amidst the coronavirus outbreak. Major airlines like United have slashed passenger flights by more than 90% and suspending their pet programs entirely, saying it doesn't make any financial sense for them to continue. That means that people who have no choice but to travel could face leaving their furry friends behind for an unknown time. Luckily, the Nitzan family have figured out how to get their dog Gula back home after months of struggle.
Luckily enough, she got to Israel, to the airport, and I met her there at 4 a.m., middle of the night.
Pet transportation is just a sliver of the 65 billion global air cargo market. And because of that, transporting pets across borders already costs thousands of dollars. Now those costs are skyrocketing because of the demand from people who will do anything to get their pets back into their arms.
So Gula is basically part of our family. She's been with us, as I said, for 6 years. And for us, she's really part of the family. So we really felt like, we were missing like an important part of the family.
Well, I'm happy that that story had a happy ending. Now, the world feels more uncertain than ever, and we can't stop wondering, when is this coronavirus crisis going to come to an end? But there is one man who says that he's had the answer from the beginning, and honestly, I'm not too surprised. I met and did a very special story on Israeli mentalist Lior Suchard several years ago. He's known for stunning the world with his mind reading and extrasensory perception. And just last month, he estimated that all of the coronavirus restrictions would come to an end in Israel by June 14th. But get this, he made that prediction well before the Israeli Prime Minister announced it to the public.
אני אמרתי 14 ביוני. 14 ביוני. 2026. סתם, לא, אני צוחק.
All right, joining us now with how and why and what is Lior Suchard himself. Lior, you literally shock me every time. How did you guess when Israel would completely roll back regulations? How?
Well, first of all, if I tell you, I will have to kill you. Sorry.
Of course, of course.
Second of all, no, I'm kidding. Second of all, it was not a guess. It was, I'll tell you, over the past few years, I mean, we can say it, we know each other. You did an article about me. You've been in my show a few times. And you know that when people like me, mentalists, that do those kind of stuff, we usually take an envelope and put it in a safe, sealed safe, or give it to the reporter to keep, and then we see if we succeeded after the test, if it's a game or elections. I personally done it I think 3 times in my life until now. I predicted the game score. I predicted the elections a few years ago. We put it in a safe in Dizengoff Center in Tel Aviv, and we opened it and we saw that I was right. And when I talked with Mali Levy, she's a good friend of mine and she's a great actress. When I talked with her, I said, well, what the hell? Why? I will just say what's on my mind and just say it before everybody else say it.
Right.
So I said it. I didn't think about writing it down and putting it in an envelope, putting it over there.
Just said
I wasn't even aware, by the way, that it's a prediction. It was a regular conversation. Then the reporter, Eran Suissa, find out that it was a perfect match. So he actually showed me this.
First of all, the world is lucky that you did that because you don't obviously typically do this, but I'm still shocked. I don't understand how you come up. I just don't get what you do. I will never get it. So you have an upcoming new show with Quibi called Gone Mental, and basically you just shock celebrities over and over and over again with your abilities. What I want to know is what the most exciting and surprising encounter you had is. Should we look out for a specific episode? Because I know they're coming out right now.
Yes, they're now on Quibi. Quibi is a new platform, which is very, very cool. The concept is that every episode is up to 8 minutes, which is very cool for this generation, without hurting, of course, the script and the quality and everything.
Interesting.
So I did 8 episodes with famous people like Ben Stiller and Kate Hudson and Zooey Deschanel and James Corden and other known people. Everything was very exciting. It was very difficult because we had limited time to do it. I mean, Ben Stiller was very excited, but unfortunately he could have like 1 hour for us, ending with 2 hours because he was having so much time and so much fun. But it was very, very challenging.
Well, people really just don't know, what goes behind the work that you do. But I have something to request of you. I want you to make a prediction on air. We will have to test it down the line. Come on. Can you at least tell us when an effective anti-coronavirus vaccine is going to be available to the public? Just that? Just one number?
No. You see, this is the thing about those guesses or predictions. It has to come spontaneously.
Okay.
And many times when I say it spontaneously, it's working. When somebody tells me and push me and said, you have to tell me right now, it will be just a simple guess, which will not work most of the time.
Okay. Well, I know that right now we're not going to be seeing your magic in work right now, your mentalism in work right now, but I'm sure that we will have the chance to do that again, and we'll find a time to make sure that we get a date out of you that's more spontaneous.
Exactly, and until then, I'm doing lots of virtual shows. I created new concepts for things that you can do through the screens to people, and I've done like 30 virtual shows until now with conferences, conventions, and private events. It's working very cool. It's very nice.
All right. Well, Leo, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of our questions truly answered, but we will next time. Leo, thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, now this week I had the opportunity to visit Psagot, one of Israel's leading wineries, but it wasn't just the wine that stood out. Psagot Winery has a backstory that's just so unbelievable, you're gonna have to watch this. 17 years ago, Yaakov Berg and his wife Naama stumbled upon something unbelievable, a 2,500-year-old cave dating back to the time of the Great Jewish Revolt against the Romans.
We've been driving. Then we felt something strange underneath of our car, and we found the ancient cave. The cave was full with mud almost to the top, so we need to dig.
And in this very cave, they uncovered something even more astonishing, an ancient gold coin from 67 CE, when the land of Israel was under Roman rule.
The Jews tried to kick them out, to fight for their freedom. And you can see on one side of the coin, it's amphora, it's a wine bottle. On the other side, it's a wine leaf, and it's written here in ancient Hebrew, for the freedom of Zion.
So crazy is that you were already in the process of building your own winery here, and then you find this coin that basically says your ancestors were doing exactly the same thing 2,000 years ago.
After we found the cave, we understood this is our legacy.
This cave has become home to one of Israel's most famous wineries, Psagot, which was chosen as Israel's top wine producer in 2018. This is just part of the Psagot vineyards. They're located in the chalky terraces of the Binyamin region in Judea and Samaria. Every single bottle of Psagot wine is imprinted with an exact replica of the coin that Yaakov and Nama found.
Today, we're producing more than 300,000 barrels. About 70% of our production go to export. It's maybe the biggest in Israel.
So the majority of what we're seeing here right now is actually going to be consumed abroad.
Yes,
straight from
exactly.
Judea and Samaria.
If you really want to taste Israel, if you want to taste Judea and Samaria, you want to taste the land, that's the way to do it. So if you can take a look, this is that stone, this is the ancient wine press. You can see a hole just here on the floor.
Right.
There is one hole here and one hole here. They lift up the stone, I can show you the stone.
Yeah.
It's put a weight here, and all the wine used to go down here. Here you can, about 200 liters, can stay there and
Ferment.
Ferment, exactly.
Today, tourists from around the world come to Psagot to see the historical landscape, take part in guided tours, and of course, drink some very fine wine. And the best part is that it's just a 15-minute drive from Jerusalem.
Where we're just standing, it's Psagot newest winery. It's going to be ready in 2 weeks.
You built it purposely with the idea of having this view, right, of the Jerusalem hills behind you.
Yes.
Why is that the case?
Listen, Natasha, most of the Bible stories happened around us, really here, long before Jerusalem was exist. Stories about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, our forefathers. From here you can see the Jordan Valley, you can see the Dead Sea. Used to be the beginning, the house of King Saul, our first king, and a lot of the stories about King Saul happened here.
So as you're going to be drinking your wine from this very area, you're going to be able to have a view straight into the history of Israel, basically.
Yes, yes. This is the heart of the land of Israel. For 2,000 years, that land was a desert. Nothing was growing here. Everybody tried, nobody succeeded. We believe that part of the miracle of Israel, it's not just that we, the Jewish people, came back to our homeland.
Right.
Also, the land came back to us. And I think this is what wine represents, what vines represent. The story of Psagot is the story of the Jewish people.
All right, let's take a look at the weather forecast. The weekend is here and it's going to be gorgeous. Tonight should be clear and comfortable with a low of about 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 degrees Celsius. And then the rest of the weekend is expected to be hot and sunny with a high on Friday of 85 or 30 degrees Celsius. Saturday should cool down a little to a high of around 73 or 23 Celsius. And now, before we sign off tonight, I'd just like to say thank you. Tonight is going to be my last time hosting Israel Daily for the time being. I'm going to be pursuing something new, which I will reveal later on to all of you down the line. Building ILTV with the incredible team of people behind the scenes here has been one of the biggest challenges and blessings of my life. And at just 23, I was given the chance to form this news channel. And look at what we have built. I feel so lucky to have created a home in ILTV and so lucky that all of our incredible viewers, just like you, have stuck by to watch us every day. Our team works so hard and is so dedicated to providing the world with a different lens into the state of Israel and this beautiful country that I get to call home. And even though you won't see me around as much in the studio, I will still be supporting the mission to tell Israel's story. I love you all so much, and we'll be seeing each other soon. And Aaron, thank you. This is why I was looking off to the side. Oh. Don't worry, guys, you'll have Aaron. You'll have Aaron. All right, thank you. On that note, that is it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.52 shekels to the American dollar. For more news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube and Roku TV pages. I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thank you so much for watching.